Your team deserves credit as well, Mr. Lightning Bolt.
Just doing our job, Mr. Prime Minister.
Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance is the latest installment into the Metal Gear franchise. This one was a risk for Kojima Productions, for it was Kojima's idea to have the gameplay be developed by Platinum Games, the developers behind the titles such as Mad World and Bayonetta. The question, of course, is, did they do it right? The answer, shortly, is yes. For the first time, the series has done away with tactical espionage action, replacing it with the over-top Bayonetta-style gameplay you see here. But more on that later. For a Metal Gear game, you'd be expecting a story filled with lots of cutscenes with plenty of dialogue and action. Metal Gear Rising is no exception, and it has a fair share of cutscenes and dialogue that you've come to expect from the franchise. Those that haven't played the previous titles do not need to worry, for the game doesn't require you to know anything about the previous stories, and it does a reasonable job of explaining what has happened in past events. The game doesn't take itself too seriously like most games in the franchise. You get Raiden's entertaining and sarcastic remarks a lot of the time, and a wide variety of new, yet extremely fitting weird characters that you'll be seeing throughout the game. The story has Raiden going around the world to stop a new terrorist organization that is trying to kickstart a new war in Africa by killing the Prime Minister.
What do you want with the Prime Minister?
I want him dead.
Raiden later learns that the same organization is capturing and harvesting the brains of abandoned children and are planning on turning them into killer cyborg henchmen. Raiden, having been a child soldier himself, decides to take revenge with a vengeance on the organization that is doing such monstrous things. All of this is of course given with classic Metal Gear comical moments and other fun things that make the story an enjoyable experience.
Adios, amigos.
Much like its predecessors, Metal Gear Rising continues the beautiful art design, showing the capability that the designers have with the production of this title. The game moves brilliantly at a gorgeous 60 frames per second. That's huge when it comes to pushing modern day consoles to the limit. The cutscenes are well polished and suit the game well, with showing characters cutting enemies in half. Characters have phenomenal facial animations, as you'd expect, and there's a great attention to detail like blood on a sword when it goes through someone, and even where the splatters go in the environment. The game also does well to move the series to new locations. You'll see Raiden driving around in a civilian vehicle down the highways of Colorado, or even flying around in rockets. You also have brilliant particle effects when blades clash and explosions go off, and of course, not to be left out, the precision cutting works brilliantly, detailing what it would be like to cut a guy up into 1,000 pieces. You even have great metal in the background during gameplay, aiding to the combat in the game. Overall, this is possibly one of the best looking games to be released on both Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3.
Yeah. Well, just get into the sewer system ASAP.
Rising is one of the fastest games I've seen yet, rivaling that of Devil May Cry and Platinum Games' previous title, Bayonetta. With 60 frames per second combat, Raiden moves fluidly and efficiently as he dances his blade between enemies. Raiden's main tool of justice, as he so calls it, otherwise known as the HF Blade, can cut through just about anything in the greatest detail. People, cyborgs, geckos, and yes, even Metal Gears. Nothing is safe from his cutting-edge capabilities. Throughout the game, you'll even earn battle points. With these, you can upgrade Raiden's weapons and cybernetic enhancements. You'll be able to increase the amount of energy he absorbs with his blade, the capacity within his armor to carry more fuel, or his blade mode technique, as well as his in-game costume. As you play the game, you can find a variety of collectibles such as photos and ID tags in the form of enemies left hand. As for why it's located there, well, that's just classic Metal Gear craziness. Raiden can also use boss weapons, but these prove to be less useful than intended. They remove one of the button attacks that you otherwise would be able to use with the katana, and they tend to be less useful than just the starting weapon, which is a tad disappointing. One major issue I would have to say about the game is that some of the QuickTime events, including the run or die scenarios, are downright annoying. Having to run away from something on an exploding bridge is cool at first, but quickly gets irritating when you have no idea why you're continuously dying for no apparent reason, other than you just didn't run in the perfect direction. Lastly, the game had normal, excluding cutscenes, took me just under 4 hours to complete. However, on hard mode, with scouting for the various pickups in the game, this extends the life to around 8 to 10 hours, which is pretty decent for some of the games that are out there. And even after all of that, you have a great amount of VR missions that you can play that will challenge your ability to be the ultimate cyborg ninja. Frank Yeager would be proud.
I say let's throw him a bone.
Wordplay. My exoskeleton resembles a canine. Canines enjoy bones. Amusing on 2 levels.
Metal Gear Rising shows that Platinum Games working with Kojima Productions truly know what they are doing and the amazing talent that they offer. This game had a big chance of utterly falling flat on its face, and luckily it didn't. We now have a game that lets us unleash our inner cyborg ninja with fast gameplay, an extremely entertaining and fun story that doesn't take itself too seriously, and the best feeling of cutting enemies to pieces. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance for me gets a 4 out of 5. So there you have it, my first video game review. Let me know in the comments below what you liked about it and what you think I can improve on. Also, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the game. Did you like it or did you hate it? Let me know what and why in the comments section below. But until next time, I'm Macabine101, and I'll see you in the next review.